Welcome back to the In the Making podcast. Today we've got Jordan Kales joining us. Jordan is a leader in sales coaching. He's managed to grow from 0 to 50,000 followers over the course of the last 5 months. On this episode, we go through a new app called Clubhouse. We talk about sales coaching, entrepreneurship, and a bunch of other fun stuff. Without further ado, enjoy the episode. Welcome to the In the Making podcast. Thank you for joining us. I think it's safe to say that up until now, you are the person with the most followers on Instagram, on social media that has been here. So thank you for gracing us with your presence. Basically where we left off was our mutual friend Dan connected us. I checked out your page. You're basically just giving away like tons of free sales tips on Instagram. I'm guessing you figured out a way to monetize that and kind of use that to, I guess, drive people towards you and prospect, and then I would imagine you're teaching sales on top of that. Otherwise, why would there be a point? It seems like you've done a great job putting together the page that you have, which is something that we aspire to do since we basically have no page right now. Yeah. So we'll be asking you for tips on that. I think anyone else who's looking to go from, I feel like it looks like you're kind of at that sweet spot where you haven't made it to like 500,000 followers and you're blowing up. So it's very relatable to see where you are now. Dan told me it only took you 9 months to get where you are. So that's obviously super impressive. We've literally never even spoken before this conversation right now. So just to give you like a quick background on us, Pat and I run a business together that does home services like window cleaning and gutter cleaning. We've been doing similar things for the last 8 years and basically scaled it up from 0 to about 1,500 clients in the last 2 years. And this year we're looking to triple that to go to just over 4,000 clients. And yeah, that's pretty much our story. So the floor is yours. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about who you are and what you're doing, and for all of our listeners.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. I appreciate the compliment with the amount of followers I have. But what's crazy, every time I used to think like 10K followers was when I first started on Instagram. Yeah. I used to think 10,000 followers was like this crazy number, and it was like so much. And then when I hit it, I'm like, okay, it's just 10K. Same with 20, same with 30. And like I look at 50 and I'm like, oh, it's literally nothing because there's people with millions. So
I feel like it's the same thing with money and income. You know, when you're in university and you make $1,000, it's like the biggest deal. And then when you're like 25, you're like, I can't do anything with $1,000.
Yeah, you kind of realize
in Toronto.
Yeah, honestly, especially in Toronto, and like every milestone, that's what I've realized. Just to touch on that for like a second, like every single milestone you hit, if it has to do with numbers, like followers, for example, once you hit it, it's like, okay, what's next? And then you just think whatever you have isn't enough. Like I guarantee there's people with 1 million followers being like, oh, I've got no followers, like it's nothing. But that's funny. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a sales consultant. I'm all about sales. I started my page, honestly, 9 months ago, and with just the intention of pumping out sales content, because when I was browsing Instagram, I mean, I've never been a huge Instagram user, but what I noticed is there were no sales niche pages that I could find that just talk sales, more marketing, more branding. So I was like, you know what? I love sales, love talking about it. Why don't I jump on, share my value? If people gravitate to it and like it, great. If they don't, all good. But 9 months later, it's worked out okay. Gaining some followers in that 9 months, and it's going great.
So right now, you said you work as a sales consultant. So are you basically just working for yourself and that's it? Or are you also working a job in sales with a company on the side?
Yeah. So I used to run a gym, and I was heavy into the fitness industry for several years prior to this. So my main area of expertise was sales plus fitness. So I would run sales teams at gyms and essentially train the sales teams, right? So a combination of fitness and sales. And then I kind of developed a strong passion for just sales. And that led me to hop on Instagram, where now I've trained salespeople, construction, literally, if anything. I have clients that are in construction, real estate, you name it. I've coached someone in that industry. So that's kind of evolved from more than just the fitness sales to sales in general.
Wow. And that's your full-time gig. Like right now you're fully living just off of coaching, sales coaching.
Exactly. You got it.
Was there a point where you like quit your job to go and do that? Or was it just like, fuck this, I'm quitting, I'm going all in on this, whether I'm making, $100 a month or $50K a month, like this is it?
Yeah, honestly, March of last year. When was it? When everything happened?
Wow.
Yeah. Pandemic, guys. Yeah, because gym shut down, etc. So when that kind of happened, I was like, you know what? Let's just do this. I wanted to do it for a while. Like I've been in sales for a while. So when that happened, I was like, you know what? What if you can't do it when you're at home, when there's nothing else going on, then you're just never going to do it. So I figured,
I totally agree.
Yeah,
let's get to it.
I was wondering, so I know you said you worked at gyms. Like I was wondering, where is that where you got your start? Like where did you first encounter sales and kind of like catch the sales bug? I know we kind of met in like a student painting program. That's where we kind of both were like, whoa, like this is cool, and kind of caught the bug. Like where was it that you kind of first cut your teeth?
Yeah, cool. So essentially, I've been doing, I think my first like actual sales experience, I was 13 years old and I was selling for my uncle's lobster shop, like real young, like 13. And he would leave me and my brother in the shop alone, and we were young, right? Like 13 isn't, it's a young age. So we had a bunch of customers come in, and it wasn't like sales, like hard selling and like actually getting them, but they were just interested in buying lobsters. And it was just my first experience with dealing with in a transactional way. They give me money, a little bit of bargaining.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, literally money for lobster. There was some kind of negotiation there with the pricing and everything. But that was like my first sales experience, and I truly loved it. I don't know what it was about it that I loved, but I really loved it. As the years progressed, I ended up, me and my brother, we used to sell olive oil, man. Like we sold a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, we used to do farmers markets where we would sell olive oil. So literally,
like you would buy it and then resell it.
Yeah, so we had a connection to through a friend of a friend who had an olive oil company, and we'd essentially wholesale. Yeah, we'd buy it wholesale and then go to farmers markets, and then we'd essentially mark it up and sell it. And that's like hard, like it's not hard selling, but it's essentially like, hey guys, come and try this olive oil. And then we go into a whole pitch. So it's like a very condensed and quick way of making a sale from prospecting to finish. Like the prospecting is, hey, come on over here and try this. And we do the pitch, and then we have to close within a matter of minutes. So it's like a really short sales cycle, essentially.
Wow. I love short sales cycles because you get so much immediate feedback on what you're doing. Whereas I feel like in big companies, it kind of gets lost when there's a 6-month sales cycle and you're going from person to person to person. And when you're doing something like that, it's like, okay, boom, what do I say to get them in the door? Now they're in the door. What do I say to keep them here and listen? And then I have to close them, and you're getting constant feedback on what you're not doing well and what you are doing well. And you're able to improve way faster.
I love that. To be honest, I've never liked the long sales cycles in terms of like that corporate stuff.
Yeah.
Truly, because it's hardly sales. It's more just going through approval processes, in my opinion. I like just real, like human to human, where you're actually dealing with the decision maker, and it's not just this long process. Obviously there's different strategies involved, but I love service-based sales. Literally
that's our business.
Seriously, B2C, like straight to consumer. That's my favorite. Love it. Absolutely love it.
So now, are you prospecting? Like, are you running ads on Facebook and all over the internet, or is it primarily through Instagram where you're driving traffic?
Yeah. So honestly, I've never used, and this could be a lot of missed opportunity. I don't know. I've really never. I don't know how to run a Facebook ad. Never done it. And I've never used any sort of paid advertising yet. I've given it some thought. I've even, reached out to a few people to see if we can potentially work together in terms of like figuring out an ad plan for me, but I've never done any sort of advertising ever. So it's all organic.
That's fantastic. And that, I feel like that's almost better to start, because when you're doing it organically, it's the same thing as the short sales cycle. Like when you're person to person, when you're just doing organic and you're building up that natural flowing audience, you're really able to see like what's working and what doesn't. And I feel like paying for ads is just a way to like accelerate what you're already doing. So you're going to get in front of a wider audience. If you don't know what you're doing and you spend $500 on ads, it's money gone into the wind. But if you really know what you're doing and it's working, you spend $500, you know who to target with what ads, and it really works well.
Yeah, I actually let me add to that, because I have a very brief story. You guys all know what drop shipping is, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This was, I don't know, it's 3 or 4 years ago. There's this, the drop shipping hype. You can make so much money drop shipping. Me and my brother, we tried to do like mini drop shipping store. I think we were trying to sell like blue light glasses.
Yeah.
And they're cool. They're like cool ass glasses. I like those glasses. And we set up like a little Shopify store, and we're going to be rich running ads, right? Literally.
Yeah. It's all ads. Yeah.
And we spend a few $100s on ads, $500-$600. He did the most of the ad stuff. Nothing.
Yeah.
0. So there's definitely some skill behind that, which I am completely unaware of.
Yeah. Before, basically we have an off season because our work is seasonal. And then I would say like November, December until January, I'm kind of like way freer than I normally am. I'm not working 100 hours a week or anything. So over the past few years, I would keep picking up like a new hobby or niche business to try and get into. And one of the years that I did it 2 years ago, it was last year, I was doing pretty much what you're doing. Except my niche was focusing on teaching salespeople at software startups on how to improve their sales skills. And it was like, it was a high ticket course. We were selling it for like $2,000 US a piece. And it was one-on-one coaching program. And I don't know, I'm sure you know Sam Ovens.
I know the name, but I can't put anything else to it other than that name. Just sounds familiar.
Sam Ovens basically is, he lives in New York. He's like a New Zealander that now owns the domain consulting.com. And I'm obviously there's hype all over the internet about like learning how to build a course from somebody else in doing what you're doing. So he was the guy that basically like, as far as I know, he's the number one guru teaching people how to build a course in any niche they want. So it was tremendous value. It was a really great program. So I followed that kind of system, and I was doing that for a while. And he tells you, until you have like $10,000 in revenue, don't put any money into ads, because anything you think is probably bullshit and it's wrong, and you're going to waste all your money. And we went through like $5,000 in ad spend in like a week and had almost nothing to show for it. So, you really have to say
it's good that you haven't put any money into ads.
Yeah. You guys are making me not want to put into ads.
Yeah, there you go. Jordan, I was actually just wondering, so basically you went from 0 to, what is it, 40 or 50 you're at now, 1,000?
I think I'm at 49.7K. So
okay,
like just around 50.
We'll call it 50.
I think.
Yeah. You did that in it was 9 months?
9 months. Yeah, it's been about 9 months.
So take me through, like, because obviously we're trying to build something here. So can you tell me like what, like, I guess, like how you broke that down into like, what were your like daily actions things you would do like repetitively every day to like build that? And what were you kind of like looking for? What were you going up by, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Let's start with what didn't work and then move into what did.
Honestly, great. One of my favorite questions, man, because it's so great in the fact that I now know Number one, let me say I had no prior knowledge of Instagram. Like I barely use it even personally, so I knew nothing about it.
That's like the perfect like test case for this.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, like this is how I know, and I'm confident when I say to anyone, if you want to build a bigger Instagram following, like 50, 100K, it's not even that big, but if you want to build like enough Instagram followers, you can come in with zero knowledge and do it in a relatively short amount of time just by applying strategies that I've used and have worked for me. So the mistakes that I've made, here's the thing. I went from 0 to 1,000 followers in, I think, 4 months. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Oh, there you go.
And that's crazy because I went from 1K to 50K. So I essentially gained 49,000 followers in about 6 months. Less, 5 months.
That's crazy.
That's so funny.
And then 0 to 1K was the hardest. And that was like from 0 to 1K took me about as long as from 1K to 50K.
I feel like so many people need to hear that because that's so applicable to like anything I've ever done that I had any moderate success at. It was like the beginning is the hardest thing in the world and you get no results, like losing weight, running a business, learning sales, anything. And then once you hit it, it's like, boom, you're learning.
Dude, it's so true. And that will now carry over to everything I do in life. Because one thing, I almost quit, I think, 3 or 4 times. Now, I made a post on this. Just as you say, it's so nice to hear and it's relatable. One of my best performing posts, like I think it got like over 1,000 comments or not, maybe a little less than that. But it was literally exactly saying like how I grew my Instagram page from 0 to 40K. And I wrote in it like, I almost quit 3 times going from 0 to 1K because it literally is the hardest part. And that's where most people, I think, give up, just as I did almost 3 times. And I think the reason that I did it was because I had more spare time to just put into it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything right now. Let's just keep going. But I stopped for 2 weeks when I was at 600 followers. I was like, 2 weeks, no posting. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. So I definitely can see that. And like anyone who's, on Instagram trying to build any brand, because I'm building my own brand, right? I'm building, the Sales with Kales brand. And so no matter what business you're in, you can build a brand on Instagram. You just, with the right strategies, the right determination, it's everything.
So did you just continue to do the same stuff after those first 4 months, or did you make a big shift in what you were doing?
Yeah. So here's the thing. So on Instagram, and there's a lot of controversy out there on this as well. I mixed my words up there, but essentially, I would say you got to post. I posted daily. I think I'm on like literally, I don't know, probably 200 days right now of just every day I posted, maybe even more. And it's just consistency. Truthfully, consistency is the biggest element of anything. Showing up there every single day is going to be what gets you to have that momentum, that snowball effect, where you go from 0 to 1K and that's hell and it comes so slow. But guess what? Now let's imagine a snowball rolling down the hill. It's picked up some speed and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where now momentum's working for you. And you don't have to put literally exactly that. And you don't have to put in as much effort. Now you have everything else working for you. So the biggest things that I would say, I engaged every day. Every day I posted. And every single day I would spend a few hours engaging with whatever audience I had, maybe 5 people, 10 people, however many it was, I would engage with them. I would DM them. I would connect with them, just try and start a conversation with them. Not like
you were reaching out to them, or you were just responding to people commenting and messaging?
Both. So I would do both. Whatever I had time for. If there was 5 people, like here's the thing, right? We all start with 0 on Instagram. So first there was 5 people commenting on my page, right? And it's essentially, you got to see it like as a business, even though you're not making any money at first. It's essentially a business. Like those 5 people in your audience, you've got to do work to retain them. Like you want to keep them in your comment section, because the way the Instagram algorithm works is when you have people engaging with your content, Instagram pushes that out to more people. So it's essentially everyone who's engaging with your stuff essentially almost works for you in terms of getting that your content out there to a bigger audience. So I always, and even to this day, I make it a habit to do my best to engage with every single person who comments on my post, because I want them to come back and engage with it every single day.
Wow. So then I guess it was just like consistency was the biggest thing, it sounds like. And were you putting a lot of thought into your posts, or was it just kind of like, okay, as long as like quantity over quality in the beginning, or even if I can't think of something great to post today, I'm still going to come up with something. It's better than nothing. I'm just going to post it and, keep that daily posting going.
Excellent, dude. Love that question. So it's always got to be quality. Like, I'm one of the biggest advocates for, if you're going to post anything, it's got to be useful. It's got to bring value. And if it's not bringing value, it's just going to hurt your brand. Maybe not entirely true, but I'm a big believer in that. I mean, if I'm going to post something, my audience needs to find it useful. And so to answer your question, it wasn't quantity, but because I've been in sales for a while, I've got, I've so much knowledge backed up from just reading, let's say, over 100 sales books I've read, that I can pump out a ton of content that is quality. And because it's so niched, like it's just sales, that I can talk about so many little sales areas and make a post on the smallest.
Yeah. You can just like role play any given situation with the same 4, skills, and just recycle those skills into a 1,000 different situations.
And that's what I do.
Get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've got like probably 20 posts on handling one objection. Like, I need to think about it.
Yeah. I've watched a bunch of those handling objections. Those are actually really good. I've gotten some value.
I totally agree with you on, like, if it's not quality, it's hurting your brand. Because I mean, even on Instagram, I find like to know what you said, like I follow other people like Grant Cardone and whoever else. And I follow them, but after so many times of like feeling like a post was bullshit or like it kind of wasted my time, I just start scrolling past those people. And then I know, and now I'm numb to whatever the content they're posting, because I'm like, I know that it's probably not going to be that great.
Like, oh, well, skip it right over.
Dude,
it's very true.
That's what I'm terrified of. Even with my stories, I'm like, I'm not posting something that's useful. I'm going to condition my audience to associate my content with something that isn't useful to them. And if I do that, and just as you said it, they're going to now be scrolling over my content because the last time they didn't get value out of it. Yeah. So I'm like, it's got to be quality content. Always, always, always.
I feel like that's very applicable, like for us, because it's so tough, because like I'm a very big believer that if you're not going all in on something, it's nearly impossible to like actually make it work. And this podcast is kind of just that. Like, we're putting in the reps and recording 1 or 2 episodes every single week and putting out a new episode every week. But I know if we didn't have full-time jobs, we would definitely be chopping up the content way more. We would be posting way more. We would be thinking about, and it's kind of become an afterthought where it's like, okay, let's get really great episodes in. But then when it comes to me posting, I'll like make a post the night before, like new episode tomorrow. And then I'll make a post the day of, like, check it out with a little bio. And that's kind of it. And even I know that I could be doing better, but I guess I'm kind of like caught between not putting in the time to really think about how I'm doing it. And now that you're saying this, I'm kind of waking up to like, okay, there's only so many times I'm going to post new episode tomorrow before people stop giving a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. Cause the worst thing, and again, in my opinion, is like conditioning your audience just to believe that your content isn't valuable, and then they stop finding use for it, right? And they keep going by it.
Yeah. So now we have that. Now we need advice.
Now we just what do we do? I actually had a question for you. This might get a little too much into the technical, but we need help. So I'm genuinely curious. What do you? Because like your Instagram page is obviously like super, super high quality of stuff. What do you use to make that, like edit those, all that? Like, what do you use to like create your Instagram posts?
Yeah, cool. This will probably make you happy, this answer. I am the most ignorant when it comes to design. Okay. Like I'm like the worst.
Well,
and
it doesn't
I really
show it. Your page is awesome.
And that means a lot to me because I really think it's so basic. But I literally use Canva I've never designed
Okay.
before.
Oh,
Yeah,
use Canva too. Okay.
Dude, it's
I
amazing.
downloaded it and I thought it was too like, I don't know, like feminine, and then I just stopped using it.
Feminine.
But
Oh,
I guess
it's great. No way. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's like online Photoshop, but like a lot simpler. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
it's
you use
really perfect.
Canva to make all of these posts.
yeah, he's got a
All
color
these posts.
scheme and everything. And what about the like the stock images? They give it to you?
So here's the thing. I used to use Unsplash, where
Yep.
it's free, completely free.
Yep.
I get
Yep.
any image
Yep.
you want, and I just found it so hard to get find an image that I like or use a quality image.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot on there.
There's so many, but I ended up getting Canva Pro, and it's
Okay.
the easiest thing in the world to find images now. It's right on the tab beside where I'm designing. It's a toolbar, and
You could
it's
just scroll through it.
so it's like the best. It's so easy just to create, because like I'm not a design guy. So I personally, as long as my design have my brand colors in it, I'm not focused on having incredible design. I'm more about a proper
brand colors.
I know. Everybody likes yellow these days. Yellow's coming back big.
I know. I love it. It just pops, man. But going back to that, as long as the brand colors are there and the content is there itself, the nice hook and the actual value in the content, that's what matters to me. I'm not selling design services, so I don't have to please people with a nice design, because I'm not creating for people.
You have to get the message.
Yeah, well, you've got like your minimum value, right? Like it's just good enough to get it out there. If it's great, then it's great. But as long as it's not bad to look at, the message,
the content
gets
that
through.
matters. The message that matters. So.
For sure. And I mean, it does play a role. I think having a better design will outperform a less better design. I mean, there's no way around it. But again, I'm not a designer, so I work with what I got.
Well, you're focusing on your core competency, right? Like, why spend 12 hours trying to figure out a good design that might take someone in advertising an hour to do, when you can spend 10 minutes coming up with, good copy and good value content for your followers? And, they're not there for the design, right?
They're there for the sales stuff. Yeah.
I don't want my my audience to be there for my design. So I should make it worse.
Just like fuck it up. Lower resolution.
Honestly.
So for someone like, I guess, like for a particular example, like us, for example, we're building this podcast. We know we've got experience. We know we have fantastic people that we're going to have on here, and the content itself is going to be really valuable to lots of folks, but we really just need them to actually go from prospecting to get the fuck on and listen to it, and then obviously tell us their feedback. So where would you say we should start navigating from either posting or messaging or engaging to moving to where we want to go?
Cool. Yeah. So the brand is essentially podcast, right? It's like essentially like just the podcast. Is that it?
Yeah. So we're not
if they need window cleaning, we'd be happy to do it for them.
We're not using this to push our company. This was more of just like let's have fun with it and share the knowledge and the value. Ideally, like the goal was just to make it about sharing with other people what it's like to kind of be in the process of making it big, as opposed to just interviewing people that are already, high up there, and it's not really relatable and it's kind of hard to get where they're going. We work with clients that are like CEOs and presidents of massive corporations. So right now we're like, this podcast is so shitty that we can't reach out to those people, because there's no way they would want to be on it. But that's the goal, right? To get there. So it's really just about like getting the word out and getting feedback on it and kind of tweaking
improving.
Yeah.
Growing. We just want to see where we can take it, kind of. Yeah.
I mean,
we don't have any need to monetize it or anything even. It's just.
Oh, yeah. You don't need, I mean, starting off, why would you? The first thing that I would do, man, is like you guys just create an Instagram brand for the podcast. Like literally get specific with that. That's what I would do. And then just start posting clips. Because I mean, a podcast is different than selling a service, right?
Yeah.
It's very different in terms of the strategies to be effective with that. Like a podcast is more along the lines of some form of entertainment. And then depending on how niched you get, it could be like, for example, for me, I've got a sales podcast, right? So for my podcast, like I'm solving sales problems. But it really does depend, and this is how you position yourself on what you guys like. If you guys are talking with people like me, and you guys have such a diverse people you interview.
Audience,
not just diverse audience, but a diverse people you interview like you interview me. Then you're not able to make it niche, right? So then it's more going to be along the lines of just something out of an entertainment based
like
value.
what Joe Rogan does.
Yeah,
essentially what Joe Rogan does.
He even
right?
started as a niche to grow, right? Like he was doing like just a lot of comedians at the beginning, and then he became huge, and then went into doing a bunch of other people, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that's again, that's something that I didn't know at all. Actually, I thought he was just like just an MMA dude.
He's a stand-up comedian.
This guy's talented already.
He's a pretty good one. That's his main,
like a
stand-up comedy is his main.
He has like a supplement company as well.
He has a big gym in Texas.
I didn't even know that. That's fucked.
What doesn't he do?
There's not much.
And apparently he's like incredibly. What did you say? You're like he doesn't like to work very hard. That was his.
No, so he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't like to work very hard. I think he works very hard, but he just says, he has a lot of friends that are like big. Like obviously he like knows Elon Musk and stuff like that. So he talks about people who have like assistants, and he says like, listen, if you have an assistant, you're doing too much. Like just cut some stuff out. Yeah.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah. He says, if you have an assistant, you're doing too much. Like just cut some stuff out. You don't need to do all that.
Stop trying to go to Mars.
Yeah.
I've never in my life heard anything like that. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, the guy runs a podcast, the biggest podcast in the world, right? And it's him and one other guy.
Dude, it's crazy. I think he sold the rights to like Shopify for like $100 million.
No,
Spotify.
No,
Spotify, not Shopify. Spotify.
Yeah, so he licensed it. I think I'm not sure how long the deal is for, but they definitely licensed it to Spotify. And an undisclosed amount, but we can assume it's in the guy's 7 to 8 digit.
Does not need money.
At least 8 digit range. Yeah.
Insane.
Whatever Ferrari you think is nice, he probably owns the 1 in 5 in the world type.
So hey, you guys are in the right space. I mean, podcasting, you can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Clubhouse? You mentioned that earlier when we were talking.
Yeah, truthfully, I love the idea behind it. Personally, I do it. I get on it once a week with another sales guy that I connected with on Instagram. We just have a room, kind of talk sales, take questions from the audience once a week. I don't do it a lot. I absolutely love the idea behind it though. The best way to communicate value is literally just through speaking through your voice. Like that's it.
Yeah. How do you see it? Kind of, I know it's like new and like it's invite only now, right? So like, how do you see it?
You can get an invite.
I know you can get an invite, but I'm just saying like it's obviously like in its very like early stages, like it's very new. So I was just like, how do you see it fitting into, I guess, yours, potentially ours down the road? Like, how do you see it fitting into the funnel of like where you're like channeling people? I guess for you, it's to your Instagram, and then eventually to your consulting, to us, it's to the podcast.
I feel like it's prospecting. It's massive for prospecting, probably.
Well, yeah, I'll answer that question through the experience of this guy. His name's David, who joined Clubhouse, I think when it came out a few months ago, and he's amassed like a huge he loves it. It's his number one. Like we connected. He had like 1K followers on Instagram, and he just couldn't figure out how to grow on Instagram. And he ended up hopping on Clubhouse, and it just clicked for him. Like huge. Yeah. Like now he's like at 4K followers on Clubhouse.
So is he just like hopping into chat rooms and like giving value and getting followers?
I think he is. I think he honestly is. And I think that's basically, and he hosts rooms too. And
That's
you know,
so
you
funny.
in his bio, you can put stuff. So I mean, that's a source to just generate leads right there. I mean,
Yeah.
people see him
Wow.
talking, they like what he says, they go to his bio, they see he's got some sort of funnel, and that's when the funnel starts.
think I'd
But
be
You can
good at
put a
that.
link in
I
your
just-
bio.
I just
and-
like
and,
can talk
that's
all
cool.
day, and like people,
Yeah,
anyone,
but
and I
you
just go
can-
to like from room to room and talk.
No,
and talk
really?
until people
Yeah.
follow me.
People could be in the other room and be like, I just heard this. How do I get away from this?
yeah,
guy?
no, it's crazy. Like it's crazy because that's that's literally what they do. And you could spend
Saying
like
the same thing
10
in every
hours.
room.
Shit, this guy again.
Yeah, this guy again? God.
Can you block people?
Yeah, you start
Isn't
getting
all the
kicked out of
rooms I want to
rooms.
join? So like
Oh,
if I like I haven't really taken a look at it at all, but I don't know why they put this random dude's face on it, but it is appealing. So you open Clubhouse and then you see a couple of like rooms that are open now in front of you. You can start a room, and then if you go into search, I guess you just search like sales, and then boom, you're gonna see like a bunch of sales stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then you can like join clubs or something. Again, I've only used it like a few times. To be honest, I love the idea, but I don't know how into it I'm going to get. I like doing Instagram lives. I do some Instagram lives.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
I like doing that. I think the best way to communicate value though is through your voice, like actually just speaking.
Yeah.
By far. Like
It's
video,
authentic,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
it's not
sure.
like a pre-scripted edited video. It's people can really connect to it.
Yeah, and you can get like think about it this way. Like you have like people like Grant Cardone, right?
Yeah.
Who I've joined a few rooms where he's in. And like imagine being able to speak one-on-one essentially with Grant Cardone and ask him a question or pitch him an idea. That's what Clubhouse allows you to do. And truthfully, no other platform allows you to do that, because if you send Grant Cardone a DM on Instagram, guy's not answering.
Never see it.
He's not answering you. But if you get into a room and get invited up as a speaker, which is easy to do, you just raise your hand in the room. You now have a chance to literally speak one-on-one to Grant Cardone or Elon Musk, who was on it as well, which is insane. So I think the opportunity on Clubhouse for whether it's if you have a business and you want to get clients or whatever it is or network is gigantic.
So tell me this, if we hosted a room right now, is Clubhouse gonna like organically just pop that up on people's feeds, or are only people that follow us gonna see it?
That's a good question. Now I don't know too much still about Clubhouse, but I'll speak from anecdotally. When I've been doing I think I did 3 or 4 rooms with my friend David. The first room there was like 10 people. The second room there was a little more, and the third room there was a little more. So I think there's some algorithms that play into it where if you're consistent and then you start getting recommended. But honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. I think you can invite people to rooms. So you pre-invite, and then you can get other people who are in the room to invite. It's weird. That I don't know. I wish I did, but I'm not the Clubhouse expert.
I feel like it's a big opportunity. Like
More of an expert than we are.
When TikTok came out, it was like, Gary Vee was all over it, like TikTok. And you obviously have to put a little bit of time into the creativity behind it. But I feel like Clubhouse is basically like just always being on Instagram Live or posting stories where you don't have to worry about editing or cutting it up or really you just go and speak. And if people like you, then boom, you're getting an audience.
And you know what's another thing? I think Clubhouse is so popular because it doesn't allow you to show your face. I think that because I think naturally people just don't like showing their face on camera. Yeah, people are just naturally uncomfortable with it. And I think because they eliminate the option, like you can't show your face, it just makes it more inviting where like people don't have that anxiety. Like I guarantee you a lot of people don't do Instagram lives because they literally have to show their face. For sure. And they don't want to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that
you're exposed.
Your lighting is good. Yeah. You gotta make sure that you're not lying in bed disheveled and
disheveled. There you go.
Yeah.
So let's hop into like your business right now? So you've built up this page. You're obviously getting people messaging you for help. I imagine it's not terribly hard to find, 1 in 1,000 people that, really needs help, and they see you as an expert, and now they're ready to buy into to ask you for support. So how have you been, I guess, building up that brand? Like, are you just taking people as they come, or are you running a page that's like, okay, if you want to be coached by me, go to this page, fill out this form, and there's kind of a system behind it?
Yeah, cool. I mean, so for that, truthfully, I could be operating on such a higher level in terms of ads and funnels. I haven't done any of that, truthfully, because I never came into came in to Instagram with the idea of really monetizing. If I'm being purely honest, wasn't even my intention. I just wanted to share what I know, have a few people listen to me, and just add some value. But essentially what I started doing on Instagram, when I started doing like free discovery calls where I'd hop on a call with them, 30 minutes. And essentially it's a sales call, right? If it makes sense, I try and close them. And I quickly stopped doing that just because there's so many people that essentially waste your time.
You need to qualify them.
Yeah, not in a bad way. But the thing is, I enjoy doing that. I did that because not just with the intention of just trying to sell. I actually like, talking to new people and providing value. So that was fun. But I did realize there are so many people that just weren't a good fit for even that call for me. So that's when I started to say, no, I'm not doing these calls anymore. And I just took like a purely organic lead generation approach where I just set my page up in a way to generate leads for me in the most automated way I could think of.
So someone can like go on the page and it'll say like, if you want to work with me, this is what you get. This is the price. Decide on your own. Yeah, so essentially it's like this, right? So on my posts, what I do is I'm a big fan of, number one, I think testimonials are huge. You get adds a ton of leverage in terms of just getting people over the fence to be actually interested in doing business with you. So I have my highlights set up in a way that demonstrates the amount of testimonials I have, the level of expertise I have, and that's basically it on my highlights. And that people can scroll through that as they see fit. And then on my posts, obviously the value. And then I just CTAs, like I use call to actions, right? So every single post, you'll see that I have some sort of call to action. Sometimes it's my sales ebook. Sometimes it's my sales podcast. Sometimes it's my coaching. But essentially, since we're talking about coaching, what I'll have is, click on the 10th slide of my post. So once they finish the post, this was freaking awesome. I love what this guy said. It's great. That's what I'm hoping they'd say anyhow. They scroll to the 10th slide, and then it would say, click the link in my bio, fill out my coaching application form. And that's it. And then people would fill it out, and I'd go through that to see if, what I like, and then I'd contact them. And okay, but you're not like advertising a set rate. It's kind of a on-demand basis.
So I am on my coaching form, I advertise a set rate, and in the sense that I say, my coaching range has a price range of this to this, essentially.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
And how many people have you worked with so far?
I've worked with a ton, man. Well over 100. And keep in mind that these aren't like recurring monthly clients. One of my favorite things to do are individual coaching calls. So these are
like a one-time,
like a one or two or
fixed,
3 times.
Like you pay this much, you get an hour of my time.
Exactly.
I'm just curious. I don't know if you'd be comfortable, but for one of those coaching calls, I assume it would be like an hour coaching call. Like, what's the rate for that?
Yeah, so I do 150.
Okay.
150 USD.
Reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah.
USD. Hey, I was going to say, I hope you're charging USD.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, although I'm in Canada, you got to do the USD.
You got to get those US dollars.
Well, most, I found when we were doing it, every single one of our clients was in the States. It's predominantly American.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just the conversion works in our favor. And the way I see it, like, dude, if I'm going to charge, let's say like my number was like, how much is my time worth an hour? And I came up with the 150 mark. you might as well put it in USD because it's just a lower amount. Like it'll just be perceived as a lower amount because 150 USD is like 110. It's like, what am I going to advertise? 150 or 110? Like people look at the numbers and they'll decide what currency later.
Once you're at 110, 120, 130, it might as well just be 150. It's just over $100 and it's not 200.
I'm gonna start charging euros soon to get it down.
Only one Bitcoin.
One Bitcoin. Yeah.
I'll start doing Bitcoin. Whatever's the highest currency.
So I feel like we've obviously spent a whole bunch of time asking you questions, and we don't really I feel like we haven't really gone into tooting our own horn on the podcast just because like most people kind of know what we do at this point.
Are you saying you want to toot our own
horn? No.
Honestly, I was going to ask you guys about your business.
I was literally going to open the floor to Jordan. Thank you, Patrick. To just because I feel like, you know, he might get some value from it, and then other people might appreciate the questions he has. So yeah, if you have any questions for us, go for it.
Yeah, no, truthfully, I was literally going to ask you guys about your business. Like, cause you guys, say similar age to me, 26, 27, around there. And I mean, like, obviously nowadays it's all about, you'll see the entrepreneurial spirit is pretty high in a lot of people, or at least the idea.
The entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah. More. I think that's a better classification because everyone loves the idea of doing it. But it's totally different in reality, and I'm wondering how you guys like got into it, and
discovered.
Where did you see success? Like, what happened in terms of the journey?
I don't know. I'll go first. I've never.
Well, it's kind of the same journey, and you can how we got into it.
Well, like I know. Were you doing anything before student painting? Was there ever anything that you like jumped into, or was that kind of your first swim in the pond?
I had done like little things here and there, and I always knew that like running a business was something that I wanted to do, but I never really had like a direction or like I always like would do these little things, but it would never really like amount to anything, you know, like when I found student painting, it was like, oh, like this is how I can like put all the pieces together and like do this stuff. That like really opened my eyes.
So for me, it was like, I always had at a very young age a weird obsession with money, and it wasn't even that I need it to live. It was more just like I was fat. I would always like count my piggy bank, and I would always I realized like my parents didn't just like give me whatever I wanted. So there was a strong correlation between like, okay, if I want shit, I got to go work, I got to make money, and I need to figure out how to make money. And then I don't know if it was because of that or on the side, I started to have like a fascination for businesses. And when I was really young, I started like knocking on doors to shovel people's driveways. And then I realized that it's totally not worth the $20 to work for an hour and a half to shovel snow. And then I tried getting all my friends to help me, but then none of them wanted to work that hard. So that didn't work. And then I was always selling stuff here and there and trying to flip things. And then, like Pat, like the real kind of endeavor was we got involved with student painting, and it was like a proven system that worked. That was basically like, if you follow our lead, you will win and you will make money. And I just kind of went all in on it. They basically teach you to like go literally knock on doors of people's houses and just tell them what you're doing and convince them to trust you to paint their house. And some of them shouldn't have trusted us, but
most of them should have.
Yeah, but most of them, in the end, the most worked out.
Yeah.
And so we did it. I did it for 4 years. Pat did it for two.
Yeah.
And then I stayed and moved up and started to coach other students on how to run their businesses. And I like built out a new division for them that went from painting to franchising their window cleaning. And then once I kind of felt like I had learned everything that there was to learn there, where I was doing most of the teaching to other people instead of getting taught, I left and I traveled the world for a little bit, and then I moved to Toronto. And just this year, I convinced Pat to actually move from Montreal to Toronto. So Pat was running a franchise of Shine, of our company, in Montreal, and then he sold the franchise and moved here because we were just scaling so fast that we really needed help. And it's fucking lonely running a business. So it was nice to have a friend here too.
That's unreal. I feel like it's so much better having a business partner. Do you guys think so?
Oh,
I think
100%.
I think it's better to have a good business partner, but I do not think I would blanket statement business partner as a whole, because I think that most people use a business partner to like overcompensate for their insecurity about starting a business. And they think that if they have a partner, it's going to make it'll make everything easier. But I find that that's totally not the case.
I mean,
I like that actually.
Yeah, I'll clarify a couple of things. One, we have Kendra too, who's Dan's girlfriend and another owner of the business. And she's awesome. But like one of the biggest reasons that I moved here was because of like that kind of like loneliness of I was alone in Montreal running everything. Dan was here with Kendra, but kind of still felt alone because like their jobs were kind of very separate. Like she takes care of her thing and he takes care of his thing.
She runs the back end. I run the
back end. He runs everything customer facing here until this year. So like, we would be on the phone every day and it was just like, it built up over a while, but basically one day I had like a really bad day, and unbeknownst to me, Dan also had a terrible day. And he called me on the phone and he was like, Pat, I really want you to move to Toronto. And I was like, yeah, I think I should move to Toronto.
And that was out of nowhere after like 2 years of him.
I'm never begging me and being like, no, I'm never moving. I'm never moving. And then out of nowhere, I was like, yeah, let's move. And like, what was it? Like 2 weeks later, we had papers drawn up and everything. And I started looking for a buyer for my business and it was done.
Oh, that's crazy. So it happened quick
I knew in that moment. Yeah. I mean, I had been having like a tough time with like the loneliness of it, like as it was building. And I just didn't see an end. I was like, oh my God, like if I just keep building it, this is just going to be the same thing.
So did you start and sell a business there? Is that what?
Yeah.
Both of you guys, or was it both of you?
The starting and selling was just me. But basically what we did was, like when Dan was traveling the world, he had the idea with Kendra to actually start this business. And there were a lot of reasons for that, like window cleaning versus painting. It has a lot smaller job sizes, way easier to train guys. It's easier to make clients happy, that kind of thing. So basically, he decided to do that. He called me when he was like sitting in, what was it, Ecuador or something like that?
Yeah. Well, maybe I should tell it since it was a.
Well, I'm telling my end. Okay. So fine. He called me and brought me into it.
Yeah. It was Colombia.
And basically,
but, okay.
I started like the Montreal. They moved to Toronto. Started the Montreal side of it, but all like the branding and stuff like that was joint.
It was a franchise.
I did.
He owned the franchise in Montreal. We did the back end stuff and, built the branding and the systems. And then we were just like, okay, this is your company. You won't have to deal with any of the bullshit. We'll handle the back end stuff that, design t-shirts, that whole fun stuff. And then take it and run. And then I'll kind of like guide you along the way as you need help, since we're doing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And then so Pat did that for 2 years. He built it up to like a good number of customers. And then I knew someone else who was running, shout out Mitko, if you're listening, who was running the same industry business in Montreal that knew me. And it was very fortunate because we run things very differently than most companies. Most companies, the system is, it's old school. It's when you have employees, every time you get new employees, you got to buy another truck for them. When you have enough clients that you need to invoice them all the time, you hire a staff member, an office person to invoice them and collect money. We don't deal with any of that bullshit. We hire people that use their own cars, so way less overhead. We use Square to handle payments.
We basically use software to handle most of the admin that other companies deal with.
Yeah, so
they have like full-time staff in the office to deal with the stuff that we have one person.
So the value was much higher, and Mitko knew like that I knew what I was doing.
You had trained Mitko originally. That's like, we're all from StudentWorks. It all branches out from StudentWorks painting.
Pool.
Yeah. The cult.
And so anyway, so I put them together and I was like, this is what I think his business is worth. Even if you don't make your money back in year one, you'll 100% make it back in year two. We've got a whole list of clients that are all committed every year that have trusted us with their credit card on file and that want us to call them every year to service them. And And so he took a leap. He bought Pat out, and then Pat just moved over here, and here we are.
And that was history. There we go. Well, what I was going to say, that was something you just said. Make your money back in even to buy it out and then make it back in even 2 years. That's an insane return. That's a great return.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I feel like
we have a very high like return rate on clients. So like I've been keeping in touch with Mitko, and like he's looking like he's gonna make close to his money back in year one. If definitely year two, he'll make everything back.
Yeah, and that's again, like, you got to realize that's not even like the clients that he got. You got to remember that there's a massive compound interest on scaling growth when he's going to get, 100 clients or 200 clients, 300 clients that he never would have had handed to him. So now he's going to have drip campaigns to market to them. He's going to service half of them that come back. Then the ones that are happy are going to tell their friends. So it's like within 5 years, it's not just going to be like he's going to get that same amount back every year. It's going to multiply over and over because of the amount that he's grown.
You didn't charge him enough.
We were both very happy with how it turned out.
We basically did like it was a percentage based deal. We won't go into the numbers, but let's just put it this way. I wasn't sure, like, after 2 years of building with generally businesses like in our industry sell if they have like a lot of like multi-year contracts with big buildings, but ours is all residential. So there's nothing signed multi-year.
It was a lot of trust on his end.
It's like a lot of trust.
So there's more risk. I get it.
That's it. Yeah. So that's it. So we had
basically
I had to talk to a bunch of different people and I think I ended up getting 3 offers in the end, and his was just like far and away like the best. And when I looked at it compared to when I first thought about selling it, I was like, I cannot believe that this is the number that I'm going to sell a business that I just built for 2 years for. So yeah, it was good. It was great.
You're pleased with it.
I was very pleased. Yeah. And he was pleased too. I just wanted to make sure that we both got a deal that we were like happy about.
He's a good friend of ours too. So it was kind of like, I was just as like a bystander who kind of connected the dots. I was really happy to see that I was able to make something work for both of them. And now we're trying to grow it in Toronto, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's proper business when you part ways with you both happy. You know,
exactly.
No one's squeezed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's basically our story. And now we've branched out in a bunch of different ways, and we're trying to do other things. But initially, we started as like the concept was just to be a franchise, and I wasn't going to run anything. I was just going to basically coach and build systems, and then I just said, you know what, I don't want to deal with other people, because when you're running a franchise, you're coaching people on how to be decent human beings. It's not really about business. It's about teaching someone like how to be a business person, and usually being a business person is dealing with your insecurities and your flaws and your traits as a person and overcoming that. And I think I just like wasn't in a place to have the patience to deal with like most people's bullshit. And I was like, I know what I can do, and I just want to go and drive that forward. And maybe one day we'll franchise, but that wasn't really the focus.
Yeah, fair enough. It takes a special kind of skill to deal with a lot of bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your plan now? Like, you're not working. You're building. Well,
you're definitely working.
Well, you don't have a regular job. So this is I'm guessing your main source of income. But you said from the sound of it, you're not really like killing yourself to push it. You're just kind of like seeing where it goes. Do you have like a vision for where you want it to go?
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? I mean, in theory, I'm a huge advocate of like writing down, setting goals, like literally writing them down, vision board, everything. In theory. Do I do it? No. Not at all.
We're on the same
but I know it works and it sounds cool, but I haven't done it. But in all seriousness, what I really want to, if I'm talking like an actual goal, long-term vision, I would love to do speaking seminars where I'm just speaking and teaching sales what I know on a large scale basis. So 100, I mean, cool to say like 1,000 people, or I mean, I'm sure it gets higher, but like you got to start somewhere. So like if I could just 50 people live in a room,
Clubhouse.
I mean,
There you go.
yeah, but for me, it's not the same. It's got to be on a stage, because I feel like that's where you take it to a next level. Because like Clubhouse, that stuff is cool, but there's an element of that isn't necessarily reality in terms of being able to do it on Clubhouse. Sure, I can do that. Awesome, great. But when you step on a stage with people in front of you, I just think it requires a different level of skill and confidence.
And they're there to see you too.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I love, like, for example, like the Instagram lives, right? If I start an Instagram live, I maybe get 50, 60 people. They are there to see me. But I feel like it's not the same as if I was speaking to a room of people who paid money. And there's a difference. I want them to pay money to come see me. And I think that would be really cool. I think that requires, like, it's basically public speaking, right? And I think that would be awesome. And I think it's like the biggest fear that most people have. Most people fear that more than sharks or something, is what I heard.
Biggest fear in the world, I think.
Yeah, and I'm scared of it too. That's why I want to do it. I feel like I'd be freaking terrified. But I feel like it'd be so awesome too, just to like do speaking seminars, and I would love to do that.
So you you mentioned earlier that you feel like having a business partner is so great. Did you say that because just like offhand, or do you actually feel like you at times like wish you had a business partner to help you out?
Okay, yeah. So at times I do, and then at times I remember, like, so here's the thing. Me and my brother used to try to do these like little entrepreneurial ventures, right?
Yeah.
These little things. I mean, he's my brother, so I mean, naturally, I guess you'd say we would maybe argue, maybe you think that, maybe we wouldn't, but we would do that, and it was fun. But then we'd get into these times where we would just argue like crazy. I don't know if you guys, do you guys argue, or like, are you guys all
the time?
Yeah. But I feel like I know exactly what you mean. And I think that you're going to argue no matter what. Like if you're not arguing with someone, then there's something wrong, because you're both doing the exact same thing, and you shouldn't be splitting a business with someone who's not adding any. Yeah.
You're either doing the exact same thing, you think the exact same way, you're so in sync, or like neither of you really care.
Yeah. But we know enough. Like, I think there's a key difference between like arguing and then arguing and not ending better off than when you started.
Productive arguments. Like that's
exactly. Yeah.
I feel like that's huge, because like I feel like having like even one or two, or like even one other person as a team member is just, honestly, if you have the right person, your business is going to operate at 100% more effective, more effective. And if you have three people, it should be operating 300% more effective. And that's because like that's what I'd like to think, because ideally, like, you have your skill set, right? And ideally you're working with someone who's got their own skill set. And when you're put together, they complement each other. And all of a sudden you're now in a level where you have this one person operating 100% in this area, and you at 100% in that area. Like for me, if I were to take on a business partner to help me with my design, for example, because, I can't do my design well, my business would be at a next level, probably because they have that specific skill set. So I think like having strategically business partners who are so experienced in one area and just have a particular skill set is everything. And I think it adds such value to a real business.
If you're interested, I'll share a story with you. The founder of Waze, like the GPS app, I think he's Israeli. And he goes, I don't remember the exact figures, so I'll just throw out random numbers for what they are. He said something like, 30% of startups fail in the first year, and then another 50% in the second year, and the third, only a few percent is left at the end. Yeah. And then what he said was, this was the part that was fascinating, was he goes, they surveyed the employees of so many companies that succeeded and didn't succeed in that 5 to 10 year span. And what they found was that quite often the companies that failed really early on, the employees were able to say that it was clearly not a good partnership and it wasn't going to work. And most of the time, the business did not fail because it was a bad idea. It failed because the partnership was not cohesive and it was not a good partnership. And that's what caused the fundamental breakdown of the business. And I would say the same thing, you know, it's very true. Like if you hit the nail on the head, if you're with that partner but they can't just be good at design. They have to be good at design and they have to communicate well with you and you have to get along and understand each other. And you have to have, you know, a shared North Star that's pulling you forward. If all of the stars aren't aligning, maybe this person wants to go left and you want to go right. And then all of a sudden it's just a big headache and you don't know what to do with this partnership. So
what you're saying, it's not as I was going to say, so what you're saying is it's not as easy to find a business partner that's fully aligned.
Terribly difficult. I'll tell you what we're going through right now. Over the last 2 years, the business has been incredibly simple for me to run with Kendra because we are very much in line with what we want. We fight all the time, but it's most of the time it's productive. And we complement each other very well in that most of the things that I suck at, she's fantastic at.
That's the key.
Most of the things that I'm really great at, she could do, but she has no desire to do. So, so that's worked very well. And we've had other problems in the business, but that was never really one of them. Now we're in our 3rd year and we've brought on Patrick and our other friend Dustin to basically run operations. And this is the first time I've ever really had lots of obstacles to overcome in terms of personnel. Because before, if I had, you know, a window cleaner or whatever that wasn't great or had an attitude or something, I could just be like, hey, you need to change this, like go fucking change. And worst case, I'll just hire someone else.
Right.
And they're a very small part of my business. But now I have these guys who I'm relying on to take over my entire sales team. So if something doesn't work out with them, or if they're not aligned with each other, or if they're not doing something correctly, that's a huge breakdown in the business because now my entire sales pipeline is clogged up and it's not working properly. So I have to manage not only their relationships with each other, but my relationship with them and, you know, what everyone's doing. And like we said earlier with franchising, it's a lot of it is about, you know, personal development and getting into people's heads and their mindset. So that now that is the hardest part of this business. Like getting thousands of dollars in sales a week is not at all an issue, but making sure that all of the team members in the machine are working properly together so that the machine can run smoothly. I'm finding that's the hardest part. And I would have, this whole thing would have collapsed had I tried to do this in year 1, because I wouldn't have had the systems in place and the knowledge that I have to instruct them and guide them down the road that we need to go down.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like basically, no matter anywhere, let's say entrepreneur business, there's always going to be something that, you know, something that's challenging you, some obstacle in some area, whether it's with people, financially.
Otherwise, why do it?
Yeah. And I feel like, no matter what, like you solve one challenge, you're on to the next challenge. I feel like that's what it is.
Well, that's the nature of it. I would, everybody thinks they want to win the lottery, but nobody thinks about how miserable they're going to be when they win the lottery and they don't have any purpose to do anything. So.
Dude, yeah, I feel like that's quite true. I mean, I'll still take a lottery ticket that's winning.
Yeah, it'd be hard not to, but but yeah, I definitely don't want to retire anytime soon. I'd still work. So what are we now? We're oh wow, an hour and a half. Was there anything else you wanted to talk to us about, or Pat, was there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think we hit it all. I think we hit everything I wanted to know about. Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. No, honestly, I love the discussion. I'm cool too. Yeah.
I'm for it. This is I think we might even become friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in Toronto. So.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's crazy that you're in Toronto.
As soon as this COVID shit ends,
Yeah.
we just all go get a beer.
We can hang
Oh,
out
that
on
would be
Clubhouse.
great.
Yeah, we can hang out on Clubhouse. Yeah, yeah.
The perfect
Clubhouse,
app.
please sponsor
There
us.
you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. So it was great meeting you. I think we'll cut it now. Otherwise, Pat's gonna have a terrible time editing this.
Oh, it's fine. Don't cut on my behalf.
Yeah. So I guess
we can cut it now, and then we can keep talking.
Okay, we'll keep talking.
Yeah.
We'll just cut it whenever we cut it. So where can the people find you? I know your Instagram is Sales with Kales, right?
Which, by the way, we haven't commented on the fact that like
Great
perfect
name.
last name, right?
Oh.
Like you got lucky. Sales with Kales,
Dude.
that's perfect.
I can say like, I mean, like if my last name wasn't Kales, I don't think
Might
I
not
Probably wouldn't be where you are now. Yeah.
It might have taken you just too long to think of a name, and then you would have just not done
Yeah,
it.
I'd be
Missed the
like,
opportunity, yeah.
let's find something else.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick, just checking in quickly after the episode to say thank you so much for listening or watching. We really appreciate it. We've got some super cool interviews lined up in the near future. We're very excited about them, and we think they're going to bring a lot of value to a lot of people. So make sure that you subscribe on your platform of choice. We are officially available on all major podcasting platforms and on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe there and stay tuned for more. We'll see you next time.